Good evening, everyone, and thanks for being here tonight. And sincere thanks to Stan and Jeff for making a powerful case why generational equity should be the top issue for our generation. If only our entire generation could fit in this auditorium tonight, although, David, I think we came close. The Can Kicks Back is a nonpartisan campaign that educates, organizes, and mobilizes young Americans to secure our fiscal future and reclaim our American dream. We started as 5 frustrated young people last November, and now we are over 20,000 young people across the country and across the political spectrum, kicking back at Washington to ensure that our voice is heard. Tonight's event is the second of 35 events on a cross-country generational equity tour. We are raising awareness about a new report we put out recently called Swindled, which is available on our website, and also building support for a bipartisan piece of legislation we've championed called the Inform Act, which would force government to disclose the true size and intergenerational consequences of our growing fiscal imbalance. Our tour is not only about sharing our message with you, but in sharing your message with leaders back in Washington. So that's the goal of this exercise over the next 10 minutes. Now, at most events, you're asked to turn your cell phones to silent and put them in your pockets, but right now I ask you to take your cell phones out, please, because you'll need them to answer some of these questions. And we can put the first question on the screen. Each answer you'll text to the short code 22333. So you can open up a new text message, enter 22333 in it, and a different keyword will be inserted for the different questions I'll ask. So the first question is, how are you feeling after tonight's presentation? So you'll want to text feeling and a sentence or a word to 22333. And as you get your responses in, I should say that standard text message rates apply. And also, we don't store your cell phone number. This is through an independent third-party service called Poll Everywhere. So whether you're feeling angry or outraged, inspired or informed, you can text that, and this will capture how the room is doing. Great test. Okay, let's move to our first question, which is putting a statement out there and seeing and determining your level of agreement. I want to dive into your views on why do you think we're in the situation that we're in? We can go to the third question here. Why is it that entitlement spending, specifically Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, is on an unsustainable trajectory? If you think the reason is because there's honest disagreement,
Grandma.
If you think there's honest disagreement between parties and that's causing gridlock, disagreement is your answer. If you think it's your grandparents' fault, then perhaps greed is your answer. These answers are anonymous, so don't worry, your graduation presents aren't in jeopardy. If you think it's our generation's own fault because we're not aware of the problem, maybe ignorance, or politicians if they care more about their election than our future. Or of course, if you think this isn't a problem, then no problem might be your response. Why don't we move on to potential solutions? Now, the Can Kicks Back in our report is advocating what we call a grand generational bargain, which has 3 components. Increasing federal investments in the short term, slowing the growth of entitlement spending over the long term, and reforming our tax code to raise additional revenue. And along the bottom line is your level of agreement or disagreement with that approach to tackling this problem. TCKB 7 through 11, and of course TCKB stands for the Can Kicks Back. Thank you for your responses. We're going to take each section of this approach in turn to see what you think on the particular issues. So if we go to the next question, we'll see what kinds of potential federal investments would you support? And these are all sort of relatively speaking. You might agree with more than one, but this is saying which of these options do you support the most? And the keywords here are sort of self-explanatory. AmeriCorps, scaling AmeriCorps positions, establishing universal preschool for 2 million eligible children, creating a national infrastructure bank, investing in clean energy, or the option of no spend. We shouldn't increase federal investments relative to the baseline at all. And these are all 10-year budget scores by the Congressional Budget Office, so what it would cost the country over a 10-year period. I think Jeff did a good job. Investment in education is leading the pack tonight. The next area of potential solutions is going to be around entitlement reforms. Social Security in particular. We know in 20 years it's not going to be able to pay full benefits. So what would we do to change this reality? We can raise the retirement age to 69 and increase the longevity. And I should mention that the percentages along the bottom is how much of the funding gap each reform would close. So none of it would solve the problem entirely, but all would take us more than a third of the way there. The second is slowing the growth in benefits to the top half of earners. The third is increasing the payroll tax. The fourth is decreasing the initial Social Security benefit. Or the last option, don't touch your Social Security.
This is great technology, by the way.
Okay. The next question is really important when we talk about potential entitlement reforms, and that is, who should be affected? Do we agree or disagree with this statement that Americans in or near retirement, so say those who are over the age of 55, should be exempted from reforms to these programs, even if those changes would increase the burden on our generation? Do you agree or disagree? TCKB 12 through 16 are our options here. And thanks again for your quick responses. I should mention that all of these results will go on our blog, tour.thecankicksback.org, and be aggregated at the end of our tour. And the last piece of our grand generational bargain is tax reform. So what potential tax reforms would you support to raise additional revenue? We have a gas tax, a wealth tax, reforming deductions, getting rid of subsidies, or no new revenue are our options here. And I should mention that the numbers at the bottom is how much revenue it would raise over the next 10 years. And it looks like ending subsidies, both direct and indirect, to businesses, corporations, and industry organizations may have a plurality of support. And here's the last question, and perhaps the most interesting, open-ended, which is, can you help complete this sentence? Politicians should stop kicking the can down the road because, and add your reason. You'll want to text, don't kick, one word, to 22333, and then finish that sentence, and if you could put your first name and hometown at the end. What we're going to do with these responses is put them on labels, stick them on actual tin cans, and dump these in front of Congress when we get back to Washington at the end of October. So here's your chance to really have your voice heard. I'm sure they will love to know that you like puppies.
All right, stay on point, guys.
I want to close it out here, and thank you for texting these in. You can continue to do that. I want to close it out by thanking you for the opportunity to present tonight. If we can just throw the title screen back on, I would just ask everyone, if you feel inspired by tonight's presentation, if you want to make an impact and get involved, here's what you can text to 68398 to join our campaign. You'll be sent a link to download a mobile app that will serve an action maybe every 2 weeks that you can take and really begin to make a difference, because it is our future and it is our fight. Thank you very much.